Noah was this preacher of righteousness for 120 years to the hybrids. This is a book that it's out of print now, but it was written by a guy named John Darnell, and it's called The Gospel to Every Creature. And this is based off of Mark, where Yeshua told everyone the Great Commission that we talk about, right? What is our actual mission from the captain of the heavenly host? What is our driving mission statement here? And he said, go therefore unto all the nations, the word there is cosmos, all the world, every corner of creation, and preach the gospel, the good news, the besora, to every creature. And it literally uses the word creature. It doesn't say mankind. He's specific about it. And this one, his subtitle is Good News for Nephilim, Transhumans, Enhanced Humans, and anyone else who is the result of genetic experimentation. The only way to view someone who is not 100% genetically human is to see a human being whose genetics have been modified. Then you can tap into Elohim's heart for redemption. John Darnell wrote this book. Nice. And it was incredibly helpful for me because you guys, it sounds strange to people that don't get raised up in these societies, that don't get impregnated with these doctrines so early on. But like, I really struggled with whether or not I ever had the potential to be saved, to have an opportunity to enter in through the narrow gate, because I was totally convinced that I was a child, a progenitor of this bloodline of the serpent, that I was a bloodline carrier of the seed of the serpent. And because of that, I was cut off. I was anathema. I was a curse, that I had no ability to ever enter in, that I could not be redeemed, right? I was forever accursed, and there was nothing I could do about it. And this was some of the stuff that really helped me to get to a place of understanding that the Father has a unique and powerful way of bringing deliverance. And Noah, for 120 years, all the way to the very end, was preaching to hybrids. He was preaching mercy and deliverance and restoration from genetic alteration, from human experimentation campaigns. Like, he was preaching to these abominations. People are just going to call them abominations. But you got to understand, David himself, even his Gibborim, the mighty man of valor, he had in and amidst his army, commanders over his army, two mighty men of Moab. They're called lion-faced men of Moab. You can look it up. I'll show some pictures of it. People who have found skulls of these guys who literally have lion heads. They're physically lions on their upper body, and yet they're men. And it said they could outrun a gazelle, that one of them was greater than 1,000 people. And David immediately made them commanders. Benaiah, one of his, who later became David's head of his bodyguard and later the commander of Solomon's entire army of Yisrael, Benaiah was credited with one of the great attributes that he said when he was, being heralded for slaughtering a giant. He killed an Egyptian giant. It says he walked up to him with nothing but a staff in his hand, and he went up to the Egyptian and took the spear out of his own hand and killed him with it, which is super savage. It said he climbed into a pit with a lion on a snowy day and he slaughtered it. Right now, lions back then, in our mindset, we think, African lion, big thing. The largest lions that ever existed were here in the Americas, and they were 10-footers. Massive things that weighed 700 to 1,000 pounds, unbelievably massive things. So to climb into a pit with one of these things and tear it up is unbelievable. But it said of all of those traits, he said he also killed one of the lion-faced men of Moab. And these were these superhumans, right? These hybrids, they were still around. And so the question you have to start to wrestle with is, if Yahweh wiped it out, it said he took out everything that had the breath of life in it. So then where do these hybrids come from? Where do these genetic alterations, where do these creatures come from? Where's the second incursion, right? The big question people wrestle with. Was it the genetics that were carried on to the ark through Ham or his wife or somebody? Like, where did it come from? Was it Ham having sex with his mother, Noah's wife, when he was drunk and passed out in the tent? That's why he cursed his son? Why did he curse Ham? Why did he curse his grandson? Why did he do that if it's not because he uncovered his father's nakedness, which is a direct reference throughout the Torah to a man having sex with one of his relatives? Is that where the alteration took place? I really believe that you have more scriptural evidence to find that it took place at Sodom and Gomorrah. And the adversary knew that these prophecies were that there was a certain requirement before the people could go in to the promised land, to the lands of Canaan, right? And the promise that was given to Abraham is that the iniquity of the Amorites had to be